futuristic education that is technology-based and digitally processed.
Yes, good morning.
Next.
So today we're going to witness the webinar. Is the educational content process futuristic?
An emphasis on content without process means honoring the ends, not the means of education. So says Arthur L. Costa and Rosemary Lindman. Next. If students are to keep pace with the rapid increase in knowledge, educators cannot continue to organize curriculum in discrete or packaged compartments as Descartes conceived of knowledge more than 350 years ago and the way Matteo Gandalf thinks it should be today. Next. So the educational content-driven curriculum is not enough. Process must be emphasized. The educational disciplines, as we know them, no longer exist. They are being replaced by human inquiry that draws up generalized, transdisciplinary bodies of knowledge and relationships. Next. Another reason to emphasize process is that when content is presented as an existing body of knowledge, students may be deceived into thinking that they cannot construct meaning for themselves. Learners need to discover that they can self-referencing, self-initiating, and self-evaluating, that their capacity to comprehend comes from within. Moving forward. Immersion in a discipline does not necessarily result in the ability to apply concepts and principles to everyday situations. Separations of the discipline produces episodic learning, the purpose of which is perceived as passing a test rather than accumulating wisdom and personal belief. Next. Further, when students learn individual parts of content, they inevitably lose sight of the beauty, interconnectedness, and spirituality in the world. Quality, not quantity, is what is important. Our challenge as educators is to illuminate that which at first might seem impossible to comprehend, but that on the further inquiry can be joyfully understood. Next. An alternatives process as content. We agree that many published standards are bugged, but Gandalf dismisses process education as fuzzy thinking. Real life, however, demands processes and content, including the need for communication, decision-making, systems thinking, teamwork, and lifelong learning by SCAN's 1992, Conference Board of Canada 1992, Liebman 1992. Next. We must have something to process, however. Our recommendation is not that content be devalued, but rather that content be rethought as means, not ends. We must value content because it enhances the development of processes and judiciously select content because of its generative qualities. Through content we experience the euphoria of knowledge production, the revelation of our own efficacies as continual learners, the application of learning to other settings, and the expansion of our repertoire of response patterns. Next. Process is, in fact, the highest form of content and the most appropriate base for curriculum change. It is in the teaching of process that we can best portray learning as a perpetual endeavor and not something which means terminates with the end of school. And last, while educational process and content is futuristic in the Philippines, much is to be desired in the delivery of access and availability of such futuristic education. Doon sa unang slide, ang ibig sabihin doon ay ang nilalaman at proseso ng pang-edukasyon ay futuristic sa Pilipinas. Is a yes. Kahit ito ay may kakulangan ng mga profesional na sinanay sa futuristic na edukasyon dito sa atin, ito ay batay lamang sa teknolohiya at prosesong digital. Ang pagbibigay diin sa nilalaman ng walang proseso ay nangangahulugang paggalang sa mga tulong, hindi sa mga paraan ng edukasyon. Sa pagdodoble ng kaalaman, bawat 5 taon, ang mga mag-aaral ay magkakasabay na sa mabilis na pagtaas ng kaalaman. Ang mga nagtuturo ay maaaring magpatuloy na ayusin ang mga curriculum. Ang curriculum na dinatakbo ng nilalaman ay hindi sapat. Dapat bigyang diin ang proseso. Ang mga disiplina, naririnig po ako?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible po.
Ang mga disiplina sa edukasyon, tulad ng pagkakakilala natin sa kanila, ay wala na. Ang mga ito ay napapalitan ng pagtatanong ng tao na nakakuha ng mga pangkalahatan. Transdisiplina ng mga katawan ng kaalaman at mga relasyon. Ang mga mananaliksik ngayon ay naghahanap ng mga pattern sa kaguluhan ng isip at lipunan upang matuklasan ang mahalagang koneksyon. Pangalawa, ang curriculum batay sa mga discrete na disiplina ay lumitaw mula sa isang higit na kalalakihan at orient na paraan ng pag-iisip. Habang natututo tayong makinig sa tinig ng babae o tinig ng mga lalaki, magkakuha ng higit na magkakakuha tayo ng pag-unawa sa mga pananaw ng mga katutubo at maging mas pandaigdigan. Ang ating curriculum ay kakailanganin na ipakita ang mas mayamang pananaw sa kung paano bumuo ng kahulugan ang mga tao. Yun ang sinabi ni Pinar et al. Ang isa pang dahilan upang bigyang diin ang proseso ay kapag ang nilalaman ay ipinapakita o ipinakita bilang isang umiral na katawan ng kaalaman, ang mga mag-aaral ay maaaring malinlang sa pag-iisip na hindi na bumubuo ang kahulugan para sa kanilang kailangang matikhahan ng mga mag-aaral o ang mga nag-aaral na maaaring silang mag-self-referencing, mag-self-initiating at mag-self-evaluating na ang kanilang kakayahang maunawaan ay nagmula sa kanilang kaloob-looban. And then, ang mga implikasyon sa moralidad ng curriculum ay na isang dalubhasang guro. Dagdag dito, kapag natutong mga mag-aaral ng mga individual na bahagi ng nilalaman, hindi nila maiwasang mawala sa kanilang paningin ang kagandahan, ang pagkakaugnay at kabanalan sa mundo. Kalidad, hindi dami ang mahalaga. Ang aming hamon bilang mga tagapagturo ay upang maliwanagan na kung saan sa una ay tila imposible. And then, sumasang-ayon kami sa maraming na-publish na pamantayan na sinabi ni Dr. Gayunpaman, ang totoong buhay ay hinihingi ang mga proseso at nilalaman. Kasama na ang pangangailangan para sa komunikasyon, paggawa ng desisyon, pag-iisip ng sistem, pagtutulungan at panghabang buhay na pag-aaral. Hello.
Okay.
Hello po. Thank you po. Video.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Romica, for that very Filipino way of nice very Filipino way of discussing our topic. Thank you so much, Ma'am Romica.
Po.
And to give us better understanding of the content and process of education, I give you, as we go on, we will be enlightened on the basic education curriculum features and to present to us the content and process of the basic education curriculum for the elementary level. I am giving you Ma'am Rochelle Melendez. Ma'am Rochelle, the screen is yours. Ma'am Rochelle? Rochelle?
Yes, hello, sir.
Alright, thank you
Hello.
once again, Ma'am Rochelle Melendez, to discuss on the Philippine Basic Education curriculum for elementary education. Go ahead, ma'am.
Ma'am, wala po kaming naririnig.
Ma'am Rochelle, pakiayos mo yung ating headphones siguro.
Meron
Wala
na
pa
po.
rin, ma'am. Ayun, meron na, ma'am.
Okay, meron na.
Yes,
Apo,
ma'am.
apo.
Loud and clear po.
Okay po. Okay, so once again, thank you so much to our
Rochelle, medyo...
Wala.
Apo. Ma'am Rochelle, medyo malabo po yung ating
Nawawal,
audio.
yes po.
Apo. Pero bumalik na po.
Okay,
Okay na siya.
okay na po. Okay na.
Yes, ma'am. Apo.
Okay.
Ma'am Rochelle, hindi ko alam kung sa akin lang or pati sa kasama natin. Medyo ano po,
Wala po.
malabo po yung ating audio.
Putol po siya.
Putol-putol
Wala
po
po
siya.
ba?
Copy po.
Baka signal. Direct ko tanggalin.
Ma'am, medyo ano pa
Ganun
po.
pa rin.
Sabi pa rin po.
Okay po, ito po.
Okay, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
Ito
Clear.
po.
Yes, ma'am.
Malinaw na po. Okay.
Malinaw na po.
So, mahina po siguro ang signal. So, okay. So, indeed, this is an honor for me to be one of the presenters for today's webinar. With that, I would like to say thank you to our dear Professor, Dr. Aquino, and my group mates for this opportunity. So, my topic is about the Philippine basic education in the elementary. Next slide, sir. So after the series of studies and evaluation of the National Elementary School Curriculum, the new Secondary Education Curriculum, and revised Basic Education Curriculum, the Department of Education finally arrived at the Enhanced Basic Education Curriculum or the K-12 curriculum. The former President Benigno S. Aquino III said, "Naninindigan pa rin tayo sa ipinangako nating pagbabago sa edukasyon. Ang gawin itong sentral na estratehiya sa pamumuhunan sa pinakamahalaga nating yaman, ang mamamayang Pilipino. Sa K-12, tiwala tayong mabibigyan lakas si Juan de la Cruz upang mapaunlad hindi lamang ang kanyang sarili at pamilya, kundi maging ang buong bansa."
so with this, the K-12 curriculum has come into realization. So what is the K-12 program? As mentioned by Sir John Larry a while ago, the K-12 program covers kindergarten and 12 years of basic education. That is 6 years of primary education, 4 years of junior high school, and 2 years of senior high school to provide sufficient time for mastery of concept and skills, develop lifelong learners, and prepare graduates for tertiary education, middle-level skills development, employment, and entrepreneurship. Moving on, what are the K-12 vision? So Filipino graduates envision to possess sufficient mastery of basic competencies like literacy, numeracy, problem solving, and others, to develop themselves to the fullest, be emotionally developed and competent to live a meaningful life, be socially aware, proactive, and involved in public and civic affairs, and contribute to the development of a progressive, just, and human society. It is also envisioned to be adequately prepared for the world of work or entrepreneurship or higher education, be legally employable, and be globally competitive. In addition, they are characterized graduates who possess healthy mind and body, have a solid moral and spiritual grounding, appreciate and care for humanity, the world and environment, and are proud to be a Filipino. Moving on, what are the key features of the K-12 curriculum? So the Philippine curriculum covers 13 academic years, namely kindergarten level for 1 year, elementary level from grades 1 to 6 for 6 years, secondary levels, junior high school from grades 7 to 10 for 4 years, and the additional 2 years in senior high school from grades 11 to 12. Next, so we have here the comparison of the K-12 to all curriculum. So the Basic Education Curriculum, or BEC, in 2002 is restructuring of the NESC, or the National Elementary School Curriculum, in 1989, in order to raise the quality of the Filipino learners and graduates and empower them for lifelong learning. So the BEC aims to raise the quality of education of Filipino learners and graduates. There are 5 learning areas in this curriculum: the English, Science, Filipino, Mathematics, and Makabayan. The 2 subjects are Filipino, English, and Science, of which these 3 subjects are to develop internationalism, and then we also have Makabayan and Filipino, which will enhance nationalism, and Makabayan is also called the Laboratory of Life. In grades 1 to 3, MSEP is integrated in Civica at Cultura. In grades 4 to 6, Civica at Cultura now becomes HPS or HICASI, or this stands for Geografia, Kasaysayan at Civica. And other subjects are Edukasyong Pantahanan at Pangkabuhayan, or EPP, and MSEC, which is Musika, Sining, at Edukasyong Pangkatawan. The 2010 Secondary Education Curriculum is the revised 2002 BEC Incorporating Understanding by Design, or UPD, which seeks to contribute to functional literacy for all and the development of the 21st century core skills needed for global competitiveness. So the 2010 Secondary Education Curriculum is still patterned curriculum. So there are 8 subject areas being considered: the English, Filipino, Science, Mathematics, Araling Panlipunan, Technology and Livelihood Education, Music, Arts, Physical Education and Health or MAPE, and Edukasyon sa Pagpapahalaga or the Values Education. So this 2010 secondary education curriculum focuses on the essential understandings. It sets high expectations for the standards based, expressed in terms of what students should know and the quality of the skills that they are expected to demonstrate as evidence of learning. It is rich and challenging as it provides a personalized approach to developing the students' multiple intelligences. It also develops readiness and passion for work and lifelong learning. And this curriculum also focuses on teaching and learning using the understanding by design or UDD framework. So what is this understanding and design? So this is a framework for improving student achievement, emphasizing the teacher's critical role as a designer of student learning, and works within the standards-driven curriculum to help teachers clarify learning goals, devise revealing assessments of student understanding, and craft effective and engaging learning activities. And then we have here the new curriculum, the K-12 Basic Education Curriculum, which is geared towards the development of holistically developed Filipino with 21st century skills, who is ready for employment, entrepreneurship, middle-level skills development, and higher education upon graduation. So one of the highlights of this K-12, as mentioned earlier by Sir Changgeri, is the mandatory kindergarten and the additional 2 years in high school. Moving forward. Okay, what are the K-12 salient features? So here are the features of K-12. First, strengthening early childhood education or the universal kindergarten, making the curriculum relevant to learners, or the contextualization and enhancement, ensuring integrated and seamless learning or the spiral progression, building proficiency through language, the mother tongue-based multilingual education, and gearing up for the future or the senior high school, and then nurturing the holistically developed Filipino, the college and livelihood readiness, the 21st century skills. So the K-12 salient features focuses on the holistic development of the learners. It is outcome-based as it prepares learners for higher education, middle-level skills, employment, and entrepreneurship. And it is anchored on the principles of inclusive education, learners' growth and development, teaching and learning, and assessment. Moving forward, what are the K-12 desired outcomes? So we will know these outcomes through content standards and performance standards. Content standards are what the student should know. These are the facts and information, what they do, the process or skills, and what understanding they construct as they process the information. The students are expected not only to understand, but also to demonstrate what they learn, thus provide evidence of learning. Performance standards, on the other hand, are what students or how they use their learning and understanding. The students are expected to produce products and or performances to prove that they can apply what they learn in real life situations. So in short, this is the application of what they learned. Moving on. Okay, what are the K-12 significant changes in the education structure? So the 2002 DEC aims for functional literacy. It focuses on the development of reading skills and values of self-reliance and patriotism, and also puts emphasis on interactive learning approaches which integrate competencies and values within and across the learning area. So as you can see in our slide, the preschool in the 2000 BEC curriculum is optional, and that begins in age 5 years old. So we have 6 years in elementary from grades 1 to 6, and high school first year to 4th year. So in K to 12, kindergarten now becomes mandatory. So 5 years old pa rin, pero mandatory na siya. So we have elementary from grades 1 to 6, junior high school from grades 7 to 10, and the additional 2 years in the basic education, which is the senior high school from grades 11 to 12. So the K to 12 aims for holistic development and acquisition of 21st century skills, considers every aspect of development of the learners so that the graduates will be holistically developed, equipped with 21st century skills and prepared for employment, middle level skills, or higher education. Moving on. So another changes in the K-12 elementary curriculum. In the 2002 DEC, the medium of instruction is bilingual. So they can use either English and Filipino in teaching. Pag hindi naintindihan sa English, pwede nilang i-translate in Filipino. Whereas in the K-12, it is mother tongue-based multilingual education. And when it comes to assessment, in the 2002 DEC, National Achievement Test for grade 6 is being administered to check on or measure the achievement of the pupils. Hindi lang yung mga lessons nila ng grade 6 kung hindi maging yung mga lessons nila ng mga previous na taon. Whereas in K-12, it is now the end of grade 6 assessment. So this is used as exit exam and as readiness test for junior high school. Pero meron din year po na yung not ng grade 6 is being administered in grade 7. So I think kung hindi po ako nagkakamali about 2015. Okay, moving on. So there are 12 major languages offered as learning area and utilizes as language of instruction starting its school year 2012 to 2013. So they are Pangasinan, Hiligaynon, Bahasa Sub, Bicol, Chabacano, Meranao, Kapampangan, Magindanawan, Tagalog, Ilocano, Cebuano, and Waray. Next. So, the medium of instruction, as mentioned a while ago, at the elementary level in grades 1 to 3 is mother tongue. Okay, and then, pagdating naman po ng grade 4, wala na po silang mother tongue. So, grade 4 to 6, yung lesson na po nila is English, yung science nila English, ang medium of instruction, mathematics, in English, araling panlipunan, Filipino, EPP in Filipino, pwede din po sa English kasi sa grade 6 po English, sa grade 5 po Filipino. Mate in grades 5 and 6, grades 4 to 6, Filipino Education this is the comparison of time allotment. In the 2002 deck, English has 60 to 90 minutes. In K-12 curriculum, English, Filipino, Mother Tongue ranges from 30 to 50 minutes. Okay, so in mathematics, ganun din po, 60 to 70 in the old, 50 in the new. Science, grades 3 to 6, 40 to 60 in the old curriculum, 50 in the new curriculum. Araling Panlipunan, ganun din po, 40 to 60. And in K-12, 40. So the EST, MAPE, and EPT in the old curriculum, 20 to 30 minutes, 40 and 40 minutes respectively, whereas in the K-12 curriculum, 30, 40, and 50 respectively. So before po, ang computation po, pag pinukuha namin yung average doon sa old curriculum, we are going to compute for the general average para dinidivide lang po natin siya sa 5. Yung English, Filipino, Math, Science, and Makabayan. Pero pagdating naman po sa K-12, ang average po, kinukuha namin by dividing or by getting the average of the 8 subjects. Nagiging divided by 8 na po siya. Yung English, Filipino, Math, Science, Araling Panlipunan, MAPE, EPT, and EST. Moving on. So what are the subjects being taught in elementary? So kumuha po tayo ng comparison sa ibang bansa, other countries, para malaman din po natin kung yung mga subjects ba natin dito sa Pilipinas ay ganun din yung mga subjects nila sa ibang bansa. So I have chosen, as per agreement during our meeting with my group mates, we have chosen America and India. So the primary school curriculum emphasizes general education and covers basic subjects such as reading, writing, and arithmetic, supplemented by history, geography, general science, and civics. So kung mapapansin po ninyo dyan sa slide, yung 3 countries po, pare-pareho po sila ng subjects being offered. And then, of course, okay, so para makakuha po tayo ng first-hand statement, yung hindi lang po sa Google. So, I have interviewed one teacher in the US. This happens to be the mother of one of my students. Kaya hindi ko ako nahirapang makipag-communicate sa kanya. So, she is Miss Sharon Umangay Danig from Lockhart Middle School in Orlando, Florida. So, she has been a public school teacher here in the Philippines for 3 years before she landed a teaching job in the US. So I asked her to describe their curriculum, and she said, i-quote ko lang po, pareho lang po tayo ng K-12. Nagkakaiba lang po tayo sa execution. Yun po yung papunang sinabi niya. So our elementary subjects include math, science, social studies, language arts, reading, music, arts, PE, and health. High school mandatory subjects are science, which includes biology, chemistry, and physics. In mathematics, it includes statistics, algebra, geometry, and calculus. In English, oral languages, humanities, and composition. So, nagkakaiba lang po talaga sila sa execution. And I asked her, since she was also a public school teacher here in the Philippines before, I asked her if the curriculum content in the Philippines is futuristic. And she said, when it comes to content, yes, agree ako dyan. I also asked her to tell something about their programs in school, their school program. And this is what she said. Pakinggan po natin yung kanyang voice record. Nahihiya daw po kasi siyang i-video ang sarili niya.
system is unlike in many other countries. The United States education is the primarily responsibility of state and local government. Every state has its own Department of Education and laws, regulating finance, the hiring of school personnel, student attendance, and curriculum. Every state has great control over what is taught in each school, which the American education system is unlike in many other countries. The United States education is the primarily responsibility of state and local government. Every state has its own Department of Education and laws, regulating finance, the hiring of school personnel, student attendance, and curriculum. Every state has great control over what is taught in each school, which the requirements that the student must meet, and is also responsible for the funding of schooling. Formal schooling lasts 12 years until around 18 years. All children in the United States have access to free public schools, free food, breakfast, lunch, and even dinner for those who are enrolled in a Boys and Girls Club, free laptop while still studying, free bus transportation, and government give monthly allowances for all the students. Private schools are available, religious and non-sectarian, but students must pay tuition to attend them. The United States have K to 12 curriculum and have 4 patterns. 5. Elementary schools from grade 1 to 5, middle school from grade 6 to 8, and high school from grade 9 to 12.
Okay, so that was the voice clip from Ma'am Sharon. So upon hearing the voice clip, my first reaction was, ang swerte naman ng mga bata doon at libre lahat ng kanilang gamit, ang daming benefits po. But then, I have come to realize that we have also those programs in our country. So, ang pinakauna po dyan is yung education is free for all in public schools. Tama po yun. Nagkapareho po tayo doon. We also have this free use of gadgets like laptops and tablets, free food through school-based feeding program, and free allowance din, may mga allowance din. Although the only difference is that we don't have enough budget. Kaya yung mga nabibigyan po ng ganitong mga benefits, parang mga selected lang. Okay, selected but deserving students. And despite this pandemic that we are experiencing right now, nagpatupad pa rin po ng school-based feeding program last October. Okay? And aside from that, we also implement in our country in this time of pandemic the printed and modular learning, the online learning, blended learning, and the TV and radio-based learning. So we don't implement face-to-face learning at the moment, but I believe that in due time, we will be back in this kind of learning. So this ends my presentation, and I hope you learned something from me. Thank you so much, and back to you, Sir John Larry.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Rochelle, for that in-depth discussion. Truly, the basic education in our country has undergone great reforms, contributing to the advancement of our education system. To enlighten you further about the basic education of the country, I will be discussing the content, features, and process in the basic education for secondary level. So the figure shows the conceptual presentation of the 13-year basic education program under the K-12 curriculum in terms of the grade levels and the projected age of learners. As what have already been presented earlier, Our curriculum now is a 13-year basic education. So graduates of the senior high school are expected to be 17 years old to 18 years old once they graduate the senior high school, and that means they are already employable. And for the kindergarten curriculum, that is already a mandatory program that must be attended by all Filipino learners. Moving on, the secondary education is meant to build on the foundation knowledge, skills, and attitudes developed in the elementary level and to discover and enhance the aptitudes and interests of the student as to equip him with skills or productive endeavor or prepare him for tertiary schooling. But what makes the junior high school curriculum futuristic? Let's have a glance at the different features of the junior high school curriculum to let us get convinced why it is considered, or why our team considered it futuristic. First, let's look at the subjects and time allotment. One of the important features for the curriculum implementation is the subjects and time allotment. Based on the Debit Order 31 series of 2012, the following subjects will be taught with a given time allotment. For English, in the junior high school, it will be taught for 4 hours in a week. Filipino, mathematics, and science will also be taught for 4 hours in a week, while Araling Panlipunan will be allotted 3 hours for teaching, and education or edukasyon sa pagpapakatao will be taught for 2 hours. MAPE and TLE will also be taught for 4 hours. And what is one of the best feature of this subject's time allotment? The good thing is that it is incorporated with the so-called ICL. And what is ICL? That is independent or collaborative learning. And that is a key feature in the junior high school program, which is the provision of time for independent cooperative learning. And this learning block, which may be allocated 2 to 4 hours weekly, may be scheduled at the start, middle, or end of the learning day. The purpose is to develop student capacity for self-directed learning, teamwork, goal orientation, sense of responsibility, and accountability for results. What else? Grade 7 to 10 subjects, and these are the subjects as I have mentioned for the junior high school: English, Filipino, mathematics, science, Araling Panlipunan, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, mapping, technology, and livelihood education. And what, again, another feature of the K-12 curriculum is the revision and introduction of the technology and livelihood education subjects, wherein the theory subjects that are offered are based on the training regulations from the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority to enable learners to obtain the national certificate required by the industry. Theory subjects that are offered will be based from the TESDA regulations. But what are the TLE special courses? Exploratory courses in TLE, which are taught in grade 7 and 8. This means that the grade 7 and 8 learner is given the opportunity to explore from a maximum of 4 TLE mini courses. That means 1 mini course per quarter in grade 7 and another 4 in the grade 8, which the school offers depending on the community needs and school resources. For clarification, mini courses are offered on the capacity of the school and the DLE teachers in the school. What else about the exploratory courses? When we say exploratory courses, these are categorized in TLE as agricultural fishery arts, wherein they can offer aquaculture, horticrop production, and other related mini courses to agri-fishery arts. Another is home economics. In home economics, they can offer exploratory courses like cookery and dressmaking. For ICT or Information and Communications Technology, The school can offer desktop publishing and other related ICT-BA courses. In terms of the industrial arts, school may offer mini courses on shielded metal art welding or SMAL and tile setting and other mini courses related to industrial arts. Again, each mini course that will be offered shall only cover 1/4 per mini course. In grades 7 and 8, the learner does not yet obtain a certificate of competency. The exploratory courses are a prelude to the earning of a COC in grade 9 and NC2 or NC1 in grade 10. That means grade 7 and 8 TLA subjects are preparations for the grade 9 and 10 specialization courses. Again, for clarification and emphasis, TLE subjects are offered as exploratory courses for grades 7 and 8, while for grade 9 and 10, we call it the specialization courses where they are prepared in earning the certificate of competency and the national certificate through an assessment given by the TESDA. Another feature of the K-12 curriculum in the junior high school is that all subjects are taught in spiral progression approach. This is one of the key features of the K-12 curriculum. But what is a spiral approach? The spiral approach is a technique often used in the teaching where first, the basic facts of a subject are learned without worrying about the details. Then as learning progresses, more and more details are introduced, while at the same time they are related to the basics which are re-emphasized many times to help enter them into the long-term memory. This is what we call the process now. Earlier, we have discussed the content, what the student should learn. Now we need to know the process, how the curriculum is implemented and what's all about the instruction. That means the pedagogies or the strategies in teaching that we can use in order for us to implement the curriculum and provide the education to our learners. And with that, the K-12 curriculum uses the spiral approach. That means if they are in grade 7, what they learn in science 7 are the basics, and that will be continued in their grades 8, 9, and 10. Spiral approach is intended, basically, of course, for gradual learning and eventually, of course, for mastery learning. The theory subjects, again, are presented in the concept in the slides now. Grade 7 to 8, again, we have the exploratory courses for TLE and grades 9 to 10 for the specialization courses, which are the key features also of the junior high school curriculum. Next, we have the senior high school, wherein we have the core subjects. We have the different tracks, the academic track, technical vocational track, and sports track, and also the arts and design track. This curricular offering of the K-12 is highlighting the technical vocational education in junior high school and the tracks and strengths in the senior high school. Now let's have a glance at the features of the senior high school curriculum content and process. Here in senior high school, there are 8 learning areas: the language, science, philosophy, social science, mathematics, communication, humanities, PE, and health. For the senior high school tracks, we have the academic, sports, arts and design, and the technical vocational livelihood, or the TVL. But what makes the basic education futuristic in terms of the senior high school curriculum? Let's look into the benefits of the senior high school programs to be convinced that our basic education curriculum in terms of content and process in the senior high school is futuristic. The benefits of the senior high school programs and of course the senior high school curriculum exit. Let me present to you the first benefit of the senior high school program, which is it produces globally competitive graduates. Yes, the K-12 program answers the need for a 12-year education system which which is at par with the international standards such as the Washington Accord and the Bologna Accord graduates of the K-12 program, and will be perceived with increased competency and have better global opportunities. K-12 is the key to the world learner that will benefit from an educational system suited for the 21st century. Again, we are aiming to produce globally competitive graduates through the senior high school curriculum. Another benefit is that students are free to pursue their passion. In terms of the process, this is one of the key features here. The new curriculum will be learner-centered. Students are allowed to choose elective subjects and a specialization which they really want. The students will love learning more and will grow to their full potential, whether the students want to be professionals, businessmen, artists, or athletes. Their skills and talents will be honed and nurtured through the different subjects and curricular offerings in the senior high school. The K-12 is the key to Filipino learners' dreams. What are in senior high school are based on the interest. Senior high school is the stepping stone to be what a student wants to be after high school. Another benefit is that there will be savings on the college tuition fees. Grade 11 and 12 takes form of a 2-year college education. In a public school, this is tuition free. In fact, the number of years in college courses will decrease because of redundancies. Those who will pursue college will have fewer years to pay for. Graduates will also receive training certifications, which reduces the need to study a vocational course. This is absolutely an advantage for majority of Filipinos who want to finish education. Another feature of the senior high school in the Philippines is the senior high school voucher program based on the DepEd Order number 10, which is the guidelines on eligibility application for the senior high school voucher program in the school year 2020 and 2019 to 2020. But what is the senior high school voucher program? This is a program of the financial assistance where subsidies in the form of vouchers are provided to qualified senior high school learners in participating private or non-DepEd senior high school. The Private Education Assistance Committee has been contracted by the DepEd to administer the senior high school voucher program. PEAC or PIA is the trustee for the Fund for Assistance to Private Education or FAPE, a perpetual fund created to provide assistance to provide education in the country. Specifically, for SHS voucher program application, this agency shall coordinate with DepEd and other stakeholders to ensure that the applications are processed and results are promptly released. Students from public high school who finished grade 10 are entitled for this senior high school voucher program. Once they enroll in the private schools for their senior high school years, they can avail this SHS voucher program, of course, through the DepEd and through the PEAC. Another benefit of the senior high school program is that it reduces unemployment rate and improves the economy. All the numerous students complete their secondary school curriculum and education every year. A large number of them are always not sure of their potential careers. This program equips learners with the essential content to help them master the core subjects they would want to pursue in their higher education. For students who do not qualify for colleges, they can also start working directly, hence enhancing the standards of their homes and economy. The K-12 curriculum also helps learners in colleges to help or have their potentialities to work anywhere in the world. K-12 curriculum helps learners with the intentions to study abroad and to have qualifications required in the foreign schools. Additionally, it enables long-term learners to achieve their dreams by ensuring they can always meet their targets in any level of learning. In terms of our economy, every country desires their economy to grow continuously and perfectly. Researchers claim that education is ideal for the success of any country. Hence, this program can be a great way to improve the economy by equipping learners with the required skills to handle the different chores in life, and this increases their chances of getting better jobs, hence ensuring the growth of the economy. This is one of the promises of K-12 curriculum, and it is happening now. Through this learning, high dropout rates were also minimized. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now presenting the 21st century skills that is integrated in the K-12 curriculum. 21st century skills is integrated in the basic education curriculum in accordance to the DepEd Order 21 series of 2019. But what is inside, or what is this integration of 21st century skills? According to the DepEd Order 21 series of 2019, the K-12 graduate is a holistically developed Filipino who has built foundations for learning throughout